realized in our community is that we don't talk on it. We don't. It's a silent conversation. It's like it's a taboo to speak about it, basically.
Yes.
So I was like, nope, we need to raise awareness in the rural communities, especially because they're the ones that I feel lack knowledge more when it comes to the illness. And for me, it's about them knowing signs and symptoms on how to support their friends and family should they become ill. So that's where Talk to Tiana came from as well. Besides that, I do mentoring, counselling on the side too, which is also a part of the Talk to Tiana brand.
Okay.
And funnily enough, the Tiana is also an abbreviation of This is a New Approach.
Okay.
So the new approach being the raising awareness in Ghana, working with young black people in the UK.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the Tiana, the Talk to Tiana brand. But me, myself, what I do is I work with the local government. We're working with young people as well. They're classified as hard to reach young people. So these are children that have issues with police, maybe have criminal history, having issues with families. So yeah, that's it about me. Thank you.
Okay. So Zakie.
I feel like everyone should be quite used to me right now, if anything.
Yes.
But yes, I'll reintroduce myself for you, just for you that, and also for those that don't know as well. My name is Zakie. I'm an accountant, part-time hairdresser. I'm also a fundraiser. I'm also part of a charity that's also based back home as well. What I mean by back home, back in Cameroon.
Oh, nice.
You probably didn't know that I was from Cameroon.
No,
Yeah. So when you're talking about doing some stuff back home, having a charity back home, I'm very familiar with that kind of stuff and whatnot. To be honest, last year I was just telling Beatrice that last year we went, I went for 3 months to go and do a project out there as well and stuff like that. But I wanted to ask you anyway, obviously we know that you've come in to speak about mental health and that's where you center yourself around. Obviously mental health is so broad, but the first thing is that why out of all other subjects, all other courses, all other industries, departments, why did mental health touch your heart? Why did you pick that out of everything else?
Okay, so I've actually got 2 reasons. So my first one being 2014, I went to Ghana by myself. That was the original Dirty December crew. 2014, I'll never forget. Ghana Escapes. We went to Ghana. And I just remember seeing mentally ill people on the street. And I think for me it was a shock because in the UK you would not see that. They're dressed poorly, they're just, you can see they've not eaten. And, people feel like it's a taboo to help those kind of people because they maybe feel like there's this stigma about being mentally ill. And so it touched me and I was like, nah, we need to raise awareness so that it doesn't even escalate to the point where these people are walking on the streets looking unclean. So that was the first bit that touched me when I was in Ghana. And then also personal experience. We go through so much as human beings, depression, anxiety, but I've actually experienced a proper mental breakdown where I wasn't myself. And I don't know whether to say fortunately or unfortunately, my friend that was with me at the time, he didn't take me to hospital. And the reason I say fortunately is because I feel...
When you were in Ghana?
No, this was in this country. Yeah, so this is the second...
And how old were you?
Maybe about 20.
Okay.
20, 21.
So we're talking about some real years
back. Yeah. 10, 11
10
years ago. I've just come out from a really bad experience and I think it triggered that mental breakdown for me. So after I came out of it, so it was like I was in a stance. You literally, you're sitting here with me now, but I wasn't seeing you. And it's crazy because I remember every little detail about that day, it was yesterday. But I know I wasn't myself at that day. And
so when somebody says an out-of-body experience?
It was a real out-of-body experience because in my mind, I was seeing other things and other
Was you, like,
people.
hallucinating? Do you feel like? Do you
It
feel
definitely
like,
was. It definitely was hallucinating, but I wasn't like the people in front of me were not in my head. So I was seeing something in my head, but I wasn't seeing what I was seeing in my head in real life.
real
if that
life?
makes
Yeah,
sense.
of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
because I've worked with people that have become mentally unwell through substance misuse,
Yes.
and when they become unwell, I had a client. She actually saw me as her abuser because she had been
So
you know,
something
sexually
else.
assaulted
Yeah,
and all of
yeah.
that. So for her, she actually saw me as the abuser, but with me, it wasn't that way. It was all in my head.
Okay.
I didn't see you as that. It was just all in my head.
Yeah.
So when I came out of it, my friend made me sleep it off because he didn't understand what was happening to me. So when he made me sleep it off and I woke up.
Okay, but when you said you slept it off,
Yes.
did you take anything?
No.
Or it was an
That
it
sounds like
was
a gradual-
an emotion that triggered it.
So that's what I'm saying. It was an emotion that triggered it. I was
Okay.
just driving.
Okay.
And whilst I was driving, I just stopped driving.
Okay.
And just started crying at the steering wheel. You see.
Okay.
So as I was crying at the steering wheel, cars were just honking at me because they're like, why have you just stopped in the middle of the road? So I just took this good Samaritan that parked up his car, came to my car and asked me what's wrong. And I just couldn't talk. So he took my phone and saw the last number I dialed and called my friend, and then my friend came over.
Okay.
So when my friend came over, I kept on saying, I need help, but he was taking long to get the help. So
I think this goes back to taking long. Did he ever explain to you what the reasons were?
Funny enough, we've never spoken about it again.
Because it'll be good to know, because I feel like, just going back on what you said, just rewinding a little bit, as we said that like mental health is a taboo in our culture.
Stigma, because people get stigmatized.
Of course.
Yeah, and for
of
many,
course.
many reasons, some reasons obviously you have back home saying that like when they usually talk about mental health, they say, okay, that's witch related, there's juju related to that. Surely you can't be that far gone at the same time. We don't believe in that kind of diagnosis and all that kind of stuff. Then you have here you as like the uncertainty with like, you know, hospitals, nurses and all that kind of stuff, all that back to the segregation stuff. You just don't feel like you'll be looked well after or you'll be taken seriously.
Yeah.
So it'll be kind of not good to know now because obviously I think that's far-fetched asking him, but to know his reasoning behind not asking him, but it's maybe like it sounds like he didn't want to expose that to maybe everyone else or make it seem as though it was bigger than what it is.
Probably he feels that you would be embarrassed if you brought it
if you did find out and you were.
If I'm honest, till this day I don't know why he didn't, but then eventually by the time he wanted to call the ambulance, I was sleeping. So when they came, they were trying to talk to me, but I'm tired because remember, this is through the night. I've been up 7-8 hours through the night going through my experience. So by the time the ambulance and the police got there and they were talking to me, I was just, you know, when you're on your sleep, you're just
you're exhausted.
I'm exhausted. So they were just like, oh, she probably just had a drunken night. So they just literally
they just brushed it
they
off.
brushed it off literally. So and that's why I say I'm fortunate because, you know, sometimes when people are sectioned under the Mental Health Act and they're taken to the hospitals and they're medicated, maybe the medication comes in a bit too early because that sedation that's happening to these people, because if you've not experienced it, you're trained to medicate. You're trained that this is when this person is experiencing this is your next act, X, Y, Z. But sometimes maybe it's not medication that's needed at that time.
Yes.
It could just be talking therapy. It could just be waiting a little bit to see what plays out from the experience that they're going through, you see. And that's where I say that I'm grateful that I'm glad he didn't take that action very quickly, because if I'm honest, I don't know where I could be right now.
I like the fact that you said sometimes, sometimes, because there are some people that I feel like it gets so out of control, you can't maintain that person at all, and it progressively gets worse
exactly.
and worse.
That's why the early intervention
to the point
is
to where like
key,
the mental health starts trickling down onto people that are even looking after you. Do you get what I mean? Like
but
the carers.
Said, because Ashley
that's what said. Yeah.
That, you know, when you were talking about side effects of medicine.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because I know people that they've actually sectioned, and they've given them
medication,
and now it's actually affected their well-being.
Oh, 100%, 100%. That's why I said sometimes, because medication can also act as like a depressant. Like I know someone that took antidepressants right now, and their whole character, what I know of them, is gone. They're almost, it's like they're almost robotic.
Them,
they're robotic. They move and act in a manner that if you say yes, yes, no, no, like as in like they don't have a point of self anymore. That has completely gone. However, if he had not taken that medication, he would have taken something else to cope with it. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So it's a 50-50 thing, and I do agree with you as well when you said that sometimes like they need to analyze and evaluate maybe the situation again before seeing it, because it's almost like medication is like a quick fix. It's one of the fastest things to do there and then, isn't it? But
it's also funny that you say that, because then in the end, I got signed off from work and I ended up on medication. I ended up on antidepressants, but I didn't become reliant on it. Because what I realized is that it got to a point I wasn't even getting sad, and it was weird.
Like you were really, really happy.
I was just, you could shout at me and I wouldn't even
react. Anything.
Like I became like,
so that means you were self-aware of what the medication is.
And I think, and then this is where I want us, this is where the awareness comes into it, because if you're self-aware of yourself, when you're dipping, you're able to catch yourself and be like, no, there's a change of behavior in myself.
What you've just said now, you know, we're talking about in the youth community and with their parents and them not wanting to accept that there's a problem. How do we navigate this? Because at the end of the day, if somebody takes medication and they lose themselves, you are able to identify that this is not me. This is not me. You've done all these talks and you've done different programs. How do we embrace this? How do we talk to parents and say that, okay, this is what is going on, and what precipitates all these things that happen? Because when you were 20 and this was going on, what did your parents think, or were you able to communicate that to them?
Okay, and I'm happy you've asked this question, because so the morning after my breakdown, I'm at home and I've got a phone call, and the phone call triggers me again, but this time it's a different type of experience. So I'm walking around the house, I'm talking to myself, I'm just in my own world, and my mum sees me in this acting strangely, basically. And I will never forget this reaction, but translating it into the English, she was like, who have you cursed? And it's come back on you that you're behaving this way.
See?
Oh, right.
Yeah, so, and this is what I mean by this experience, is that I remember, even though I was not myself, I remember every single detail of everything I went through, do you see? But I think because of me, I'm very self-aware. So when I know my triggers, I know how to handle myself, I know what I don't like and what I do like, and so when I see that I'm going downhill, I know how to take myself away from things that I don't want to be around, that will make me upset. I know what to do for myself, and this is where parents also need to be educated on how to have communication with their children, and the cultural difference. Remember, most of these parents are immigrants. Do you get it? And besides the age gap, immigrants, they've come to a country that they're now having to learn a new man's law, learning a new man's culture, and that culture doesn't sit right with them, because if they beat their child, they're getting in trouble. Whereas where they're coming from, beating is discipline, and that's how they raise their children. That's what they're known for, because that's how they were raised, you see. Yesterday I was having a conversation with someone, and I was like, when we talk about generational curses, we're not talking about the spiritual generational curses. We're talking about how we were raised and pouring that into our children to raise them, you see. So if you're raised on abuse, there's a higher chance that you're going to abuse your children as well, because you feel like, I went through it and I'm still standing. So if you go through it, you're not going to die. Do you see what I mean? So that's the generational curses we're talking about. What are you pouring down into? What are you pouring down your generations? Are you teaching them different type of discipline, or are you abusing them through discipline? So that's also comes into it with the parenting, you know, changing their mindset. Obviously it's going to be hard, because this is like 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds that we're talking about. And how are you going to tell someone that's in their 40s or 50s that you shouldn't do this to your child, because this is what will happen to them? You know, I always use this annotation. two brothers who have a father that's an alcoholic. One decides to never touch alcohol because of what he saw with his dad, whereas the other one goes down that route because of what he saw. It's a choice at the end of the day as well. When you become a parent, you choose how you want to raise your child. And that also comes into play with the mental health, like your mental well-being. Are you looking after yourself to be able to be positive towards your child's upkeep? Do you see where I'm coming from?
But then that's at the point of awareness though, because if what you are, what you've been taught, if that makes sense. So as much as we speak about, you know, the immigrants, and then we're speaking from the end of like being diasporas, they were taught something as well, which was probably ×2 or ×3 even harsher than what we, so it's also that adaptation is there. But imagine, as you said, telling someone from what they've known, this is something that I've grown up with from young, and then they're carrying it into their own family home. That, as you said, that they're not going to see that there's anything, absolutely anything wrong with that. And they might be going through their own mental health crisis themselves. So it's like, even to do that unwinding and tearing that apart, it's like, how do you get through to them on that end? Some parents are hard-headed, but some are really open to that fact. Like, I know some that don't mind, because they want to strengthen their relationships with their children. They don't mind having that discussion. They don't mind seeking for help. They don't mind, it's like filling in the gaps. But then there's also some children that also don't care as well. They said that, well, you're too far gone. You're too much in your ways. You've already ruined me enough. So it's like, I can't be bothered to change you. It's like, no, seriously. They actually say that, because, you know, you have some people that would just like to blame other people for
those are narcissists.
Exactly.
They don't take accountability.
No accountability.
They don't take accountability for their actions.
They say, oh, I grew up like this and all that kind of stuff, so this is what I've known, and this is what that kind of stuff is obviously selfish and whatnot. But like, bridging that gap it's really hard, and I feel like it's so easy to say off of surface level, but I feel like a lot of groundwork definitely has to be done to like unwind. And that brings me to my question for you. Is just that with your experience and with your charity, what systems have you put in your charity to make sure that it's different from what you've experienced?
Okay, so as I said, this was before COVID, so I'm going to be honest and be like, I haven't been able to do more work since then because of COVID and then other family stuff that came into play. But what I do want to put in, let me say that, is I want to be, so I worked with the Mental Health Authority in Ghana to do my project, and they've been really supportive. I'm not going to leave them out of this, But for me, I feel like there's a lot more that we can do. And it starts with the spiritual camps that are in Ghana, where people are really pushing that it's a spiritual, the Bible says that we do not fight against flesh and blood, spiritual principalities.
No, putting that into action, and knowing how to manage it.
It's there. But there's also the bit where I become depressed and I didn't deal with my depression, and now I've sunk so low I can't come back up. So for me, it's the early intervention. Remember, I was telling you, I'm self-aware. When I see myself going down, I know what to do to get myself back up again. So if you're not aware of yourself, what you do is you'll always be like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. You push it, you suppress. And when you suppress and you break down, that's where there's no return.
Okay, so do you think the home life, because today when I was coming, I was thinking that, is it food? Is it, because I remember in the olden days, if somebody was getting married, they looked into your family.
Yes.
And if you had mental health issues, the family would not advise that you get married in that family. Do you feel we've become so, we're not so aware of certain things, that regardless of the family life, our food, I don't know, lifestyle, all that stuff has sort of like made it so easy for mental health to actually seep into it without us just talking about it and we just accepting it? Because, you know, when I say that, I'm going to give you an example. It's like now when somebody's going through a marriage breakup, and they're dealing with their stuff, they forget about that their children too are going through it. You understand me? If a young girl starts going into a relationship and the relationship breaks up, now she doesn't know how to deal with it because the parents have not taught her that, okay, life is not perfect. You understand me? And sometimes the parents will say, I don't want you to go out with that person. So the moment they go out with that person and they're hiding it and things go wrong, they don't have anybody to communicate with. Do you think all these factors actually contributes to this mental health thing, whereby what is it? The reason why I say that is I know somebody that's going through a lot of stuff, whereby the mom was against the marriage, the mom was against a lot of stuff, and when it came down to it, the mom, even though she's had children, she's still married, she still don't want to deal with the daughter, and this is a lot of years down the line. Do you understand? Whereby I feel that if the mother is in that person's life, it will give her that sense that, okay, I know I'm in a relationship that's abusive. I know this, that.
You've
I
got
want
someone
to pick
to lean
myself
on.
up. You understand what I'm saying? You see. But what I'm saying is the factors that actually contributes to all these stuff. Do you think, how do we navigate it and let people understand that the help that is out there, the fact that you're going through something, doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot help yourself out of it, because you're saying that you are self-aware and you're able to pull yourself out. What about the person that keeps sinking lower?
And this is where I was talking about earlier on with the communication. Off the record, if I had a parent that told me not to marry someone, I'm not marrying them. Because there's power in the tongue. And I've always said this, once a parent manifests that, do not marry this person, your marriage is broken before you even walk down the aisle with that person. And that's just off the record. That's just me personally.
Okay.
So obviously for her, it's going to be hard to have someone to go to. But there's therapy. GPs are very helpful nowadays when it comes to mental health. It's even like, it even comes under being signed off for sick as well. Like you can go to your GP and they'll sign you off for sick leave with mental health.
Because I know they do talk therapy and all that.
Yeah. And you can even do self-referrals now with the talking therapy. So even though she's not got...
How do you do the self-referral?
It depends what council you're in.
Okay.
So depending on the borough that you live in, you would... just Googling talking therapies, it should come up, but you refer according to the borough that you live in. Okay. Yeah, so talking therapies, I'll see if I can find the link and then share that with you.
With that, I think therapy would definitely help for her, but I think the mum just not being there and taking that stance, it will help. How can I say this? It will help towards her feeling a little bit better about it, knowing that I can't fix this. Yes. But it will never remove that pain, which for most cases and trauma, it never removes it. You just know how to cope with it a bit better. I think, though, if there had to be a primary solution, that would have to be the community, wherever she's from. And that I'm talking about aunties and uncles and people that she's known for a long time, to get into the ears of the mum, to kind of like see if there is truth behind what the mum is saying in terms of don't marry this person because of what I can foresee for whatever reason. If it's cultural or spiritual takes it to a different level. But if it's culture, that's where because it's just like sometimes some people are so in their heads you can't really, but I think like,
and some men are manipulative,
and some
what they do is they try and make it seem as if, oh, this person, your mother doesn't like me, and then before you even get into it, they will act as if they're the best thing since sliced bread. And then the moment they kind of hook you in, and then they know that they've got their foot through the door. That's how the abuse starts.
I think also when they sense that your confidence levels
is a bit high.
High.
No, low.
Low, yeah.
No, but what they do
there's narcissists go for the high.
Yeah.
But then there's these men that know that, oh, she's got low confidence.
She's
so I can
use
that to my advantage.
You know that kind of stuff.
So they eat into that.
Nobody. So the funny thing is, they said there's something that they call that they will pick and they drop you. So what they do is they pick you up, make you feel like, oh, you're the best thing, you're the woman, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the moment they get you,
they have you under their wing.
Start ripping you, Then they start ripping you into bits.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, these young girls, this is one of the things that I've noticed, that these young girls, they fall for that because they are so materialistic. That the man will say that, oh, let's go to dinner. And then later on when they get them now, oh, I'm going out with my friends, you know, that kind of stuff. And it's like you're stuck there, and it's like then their minds, they become very, very messed up because the man all of a sudden treated you once like a princess, and then all of a sudden
it's like he doesn't know you.
It's like you're like, you're like that. mat that they wipe their feet on it.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. So, you see, and this is some of the stuff that I feel that parents have to find a way to talk about relationships. Even if we do not agree.
And all types of relationships as well. Sorry to cut you.
No, it's okay. It's like if we do not even agree with our kid going out with somebody, I feel that when they are younger, like when they get into their teens, it's good that you communicate with them and say that, okay, I might not want you to go out with somebody, you're 15, you're 13, whatever. I do not want you to go out with this person, but this is what the expectation will be.
Yeah.
So if you have any problem, they understand me. But when that is not done and the person goes behind the family, like the mother's back or the dad's back, I think this is where the problem is.
I have that in my family as well, to be honest. Yep. Oh, I do, because my cousin went basically behind my auntie's back, and whoa, yeah, she's not having it. She's definitely not having it. The thing is, she has tried to bridge that gap and give him a couple chances and all that kind of stuff, but the child too as well. Sometimes I just feel like in this situation, everyone needs to lay their guard down. Someone is probably trying to buff up their chest and trying to do too much. Oh, my mom's done this, I'm not going to speak to it. But I just feel like sometimes based on your character and morale, and if you're someone that is truly like spiritual, maybe a child of God, just lay it down as many times as you could, because the same way you're growing is the same way their time is running out also as a parent. And I'm not saying I say you should tolerate everything, but just maybe apply a little bit of grace. Same way with the mother as well. Your time is running out as well. Sometimes just lay it down. If this is the only child, like even if it's not the only child, but it's one of her. So like it'll be good to just see you kind of like relax, because all of this is for what? And sometimes you're just gonna have to let children just play it out. Even if you don't even if you don't agree or you don't think, okay, I don't think this person is right for my daughter or child, you're gonna have to just let that roll out. Like see it, and then you can be like, I told you so.
That's
like, I told you.
And I'm glad one of those ones that I'll be there to tell you
that was the case.
I told you. You understand? But the thing is, when I say I told you, so that doesn't mean I'm not going to be there for you. It's kind of like, as I'm watching you, telling you sorry, and you're not getting it. I'll give you that space for you to be aware of what you're going through. You understand me? And I feel currently there's too much, and I think the kids take drugs to numb down their pain. Is it the kids take the drugs to numb down their pain? There's too much drinking. There's too much, I don't know, chemicals
a lot of things
that they use.
No, it's true that you're saying that. So it brings me back to when I was in Ghana doing the raising awareness. There was this medicine that they were abusing so much in Ghana.
Which was tramadol.
Wait, is that codeine?
No, it's tramadol. It's one of those ones.
What's tramadol?
Tramadol is a bit like morphine. Yeah.
Is it liquid?
They'll do it with
cough syrup. Tablets.
Because cough syrup has codeine in it.
They have cough syrup. They were using cough syrup and some other things like, and it's just like
and they zone out. It's like they become like zombies basically. But I feel that some of the medicines, when they take it to Africa, because we're not supposed to test it on animals here. Now they take it to Africa and they test it on us. So they do.
Or do we misuse it and find something another way to a conspiracy theory?
Conspiracy theory.
No, this is conspiracy theory. Out because you know what? I remember there was a time that we did a disability show. And 95% of the people that we spoke to said the time that they were injecting all this MMR and all those stuff. When they injected them, they got disabled like during that injections. And now the companies are not there anymore because Africa, who are you going to go and sue? Here, if something happens to you, you can sue somebody. You understand? But with Africa, because with me, when I was doing my masters, we did marketing. We did these pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer and all those stuff. And then they talked about Doctors Without Borders and stuff that they go to Africa to go and help support and all those stuff. And then I know that not Pfizer, but I know there were certain medicines that they were using to sterilize the young girls. So when they come, they will come and then they will inject it. They say, oh, let's say malaria, whatever it is, and that was to sterilize. Do you understand?
Oh gosh.
And but at the end of the day, if you go to a village and you're giving somebody an injection that you're preventing you from malaria, and they're giving you like 10 cedis or 20 cedis, or they're giving you something to you, that
you're gonna take it.
That's my point. But the funny thing is, and then next thing you're signing something that you don't know what you're signing. Do you understand? So these are all the stuff. So we're talking about tramadol, because I remember there were times that people would take it and they were literally, they would be sleeping standing up, or some of them would be
acting different,
like a zombie, basically.
This is why, like, you see, before it even gets to that level of where we have to look for a solution, it's back to what you said. It's about the root, nipping it in the bud from early. Like, I feel like this stuff is like a rippling effect. It's like a system. From when the household is unstable, the children come unstable, and when they're unstable, their children will then come unstable because they can't manage themselves or whatever it is. But like, I wanted to ask as well, like, obviously, as I said, mental health is broad. What exactly do you want to specialize in? Because when I think of mental health, I think about postpartum, I think about toxic productivity when you're overworking, I think about maybe when you're in retirement. I think like there's so many levels.
It's very broad. It's so broad.
To mental health. It's like, what do you at the moment like want to specialize in and take pride in? That? What do you want to carry with you? And yeah, basically.
No, thanks, Zakie. For me, it's the depression, the anxiety part.
Okay.
You know, like I keep on saying, early intervention is key. We don't have to wait until the people are walking the streets, as I said earlier on, you know. Family and friends need to be aware of signs and symptoms. If you know that, oh, this person's behaving a certain way. Like, and like you said, it's broad, because it can go from eating so much to not even eating anything at all. So if you see someone's eating a lot, question it, because it comes with it.
It comes with it.
And when you see that someone's also not eating, it comes with it as well. So behavior changes. I feel like people need to know that, okay, if I notice this, because people brush things off as well, because you know, people are so indulged in their own selves and their own businesses,
self-absorbed.
Yeah, so they're not probably focusing on someone, or they're brushing behaviors off. Parents need to keep an eye on their kids, especially their social medias, their phones. Like, I go through my daughter's phone all the time.
How old is she? Oh,
yeah.
How old is she?
She's 17 now.
Yeah.
So, but she's good. Like, I don't have to worry for her, because we talk, and this is the thing. Like, our communication is very good. So, and that's the thing that I'm changing, because I didn't have that with my mum, but I've made sure I've had that with my daughter. So I'm making that choice to change that.
And you're making the effort.
Yes.
So actually follow through with it, because trying to change something and not following through is because as you rightly said, because the funny thing is, you know what is out there, so it makes it easier for you to notice that good communication is the key.
Yeah, exactly.
Because me recently, I went badminton with my kids.
Okay.
And then yes,
that's it.
Yeah, you see, and the thing is, we have a good communication. They might not agree with everything that I say.
No. Of course, they're not going to.
I know. They might not agree with everything that I say, but at the end of the day, they get it.
Yeah.
That whatever I say is from a place of love. They understand me. And the thing is, how do we change? Because I do appreciate that when people say, oh, we've come from a different culture. But regardless now, you're supposed to have lived here long enough to have adopted certain, because the same way that, okay, let's say if you were in Ghana, you were taking trotro, when you come here, you take a bus, yeah? So you're not going to say, you're going to wait for some trotro to come on. So you know that kind of stuff. So if you're able to adjust
to the transportation system.
Transportation, even to work, because people that are in Ghana, most of them, they don't like to wake up early and go to work. But when they're here, they wake up for him and go cleaning. So with me, I still feel that if you're able to adjust to certain things, you cannot make the excuse and say that, oh, I don't want to communicate with my kids. Okay, your parents didn't communicate with you. How did you feel?
Yeah.
How do you want to change the narrative? Do you understand me? Because I realize that certain people, they wait when they are dying and they're on their deathbed. And then they
try to make amends.
I know, but my dad was one of those, crying everywhere. You see, and I realized that I ended up taking a flack for that, because when he died, all of a sudden I'm thinking in my head. So I think it was 2 weeks at the time he died that I realized that this man was so intelligent, but he threw me at the age of 18. Do you understand? Here. So at the end of the day, my thing is, why do we have to wait? That's what I'm saying. That so when parents are sitting there and they are saying that, oh, because of my culture and all those stuff, come on. You are raising the next generation. You see, the reason why, I remember today, the producer was asking me that what do I come, and I said I'm a youth advocate, because I remembered when I was younger, this talk show, I always say, was predicated on parents talking at us, not to us, because I'm first generation. I always say that my parents is like, do as I say, not as I do, kind of thing, and I'm kind of thinking, nah, it ain't me. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now our parents, we're looking at our children, we're raising the next generation. The next generation is going to raise the next generation. How do we break that cycle? And how do parents talk to their parents and identify and stop sweeping things under the carpet?
As for sweeping things under the carpet, I think that's always going to be there, because parents think that they're protecting their children when it comes to sweeping things underneath the carpet. But what they don't realize is that in the later run, it'll cause more harm than, you know, than good. Thank you. So
I was just going to say that I don't even want to put this all on the parent. I do believe it's also the choice as well of the child. I think some people are aware enough. Some people are mature enough. Some people are, like, I think they're in the correct mind space.
It's also the peers as well.
Peers,
the company you keep.
Yeah. But as a child, also growing up, I think some people are aware enough to make the right decision and not replicate what has not been working for you so far. You also have the choice to also educate your parent on a new system, on something that is more developed, something that can work, especially if their community is not showing them any different. Because sometimes it's like, how do you expect you can take a horse to go, what they say, you can take a horse to go to the river, water, but it doesn't mean you can't force it to drink. So if they haven't been privy to that information, no one else around them is doing it, then also you as a child, like, you need to also think that, oh, I can't just keep on blaming my mom. If she does not have the tools to do it, and some people don't have the capacity. Also, you can be someone that says, oh, mom, I want you to do this. Oh, son, I want you to do this. Oh, I want you to do this. Is that, for example, I know the way in which, like, our parents express their love is very different from how we may do it. We may think of this like love and basketball, real romance, American dream type of like love. But then sometimes what our parents may show as love, that really may be their capacity and what they've known what to do. Sometimes we also have to have an even level of adaptation towards that as well, and understanding and know that, like, it will not always fit our pockets, it will not always fit what we know, because what they know also matters to a degree, as long as it's not harmful. Do you get what I mean? So I think, like, there needs to be a balance. Same way, yes, parents should change around their ways and try to, like, you know, adapt a little bit and not be too hard-headed. I also think it's the responsibility, though, as well, of the child to also teach them new. Not that they have to, but if you really want to have that change and better the relationship, I don't see why you can't do that. Why should you leave that all to the parent? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Especially if they ain't got no friends. If you have no friends or family members that do that, they all do the same thing. Sometimes even worse. Do you get what I mean?
And the comparison. This person's daughter is this. Why don't you do this and all those stuff? But you know when you said you can't take the horse to the river. There's another narrative, whereby they said you can't force a baby to eat. But they say when you hold the nose, it goes to that. So it's kind of $12 a dozen, isn't it? So it's how, because at the end of the day, with me, because I knew what was out there, I always keep saying that, because I knew what was out there, I moved heaven and earth to make sure that whatever I did, I had good communication. Yeah. You understand me? And I still feel that comes to communication, being observant, being attentive, and then the thing is, stop listening to people out there, stop thinking what people will think. You understand me? Because it's more the outside perception that actually has created this sense of, oh, I don't want this person to think that, oh, my kid is not well, so I will hide it and all those stuff. And at the end of the day, who loses out? You lose out. Sure. You see, and I think if the community too should be more supportive and should be more inclusive and should be more dedicated, because I remember I always said to somebody that my family, I never had most of the secrets in the family. To when my parent, like my mom died and her sister died and stuff, that I'm hearing certain stuff, we don't keep things quiet. We criticize more than we support. We criticize more than we support. Oh, look at that person's kid. Oh, even when you see that kid outside and the kid is doing something, instead of you calling their mom and say that, oh, are you going through any challenges? Oh, they go to the next person. Ah, that woman, she can't take care of her kids. Oh, look at the kids. You know, that kind of stuff. So all of a sudden, the person can't come to you because the next person has said that, oh, X said this about your child. So all of a sudden, you're trying to cover it up. I'm just saying that when we talk about mental health, these are all the things that happens that if the mother is not in the right frame of mind, she's embarrassed, she feels that she's going to be stigmatized. What she'll do is she'll hide it. And the more you hide, the more the thing festers.
Yeah.
And with the youth, it's like they're trying to do this big thing whereby social media stuff. Oh, we're looking at what's it called? Housewives of Atlanta. Everybody's living large. And the funny thing is, one thing that I realized that the people that are up there are the ones that are mentally suffering most because they feel lonely. Because I remember they even say stars are the ones that they are the most loneliest because there are people around them, but they are lonely. Within. Yeah, you understand me?
That's what Steve Jobs said, isn't it?
And if the young people, I want to be a star, I want to be this. The funny thing is, you want the monies, but at what cost? Do you understand me? How do we navigate this? How do we sort of because the thing is, now when I look at Ghana, when you go to Ghana, when it's Christmas time, everybody, there's what's it called? When they say that's dirty December. Now they're dirtying themselves everywhere. There's dirty Nigeria too. There's dirty, but still people want to go to Ghana.
Yeah.
Even that dirty December, that can be a cause for a problem later on as well.
No, but it is a problem for later on because then you people go there, they work hard, go and spend all these monies they don't have, come back, their rent money is gone because they're buying champagne.
The pressure.
Yes, the pressure.
What's up?
No, it is. These are young people. They're sleeping around. It's like the morals. When I remember my sister-in-law kept saying something to me that she doesn't know why they called it that dirty, whatever it is. They could have even given a better name. But
no, because dirty.
That means there was an event.
Yeah,
and it was called Dirty December.
No, it was a dirty rave. There was an event. Really? So people used that name from that event to start calling it Dirty December.
But the dirty is DETTY. Because when I said dirty, I said no dirty.
No, dirty is like when pitching, isn't it? Dirty, really dirty, like really.
No, but Chinese. No. But you see, this is what I find I have a problem. When Chinese people learn their kids build big stuff, we're doing some foolishness of dirty something. Why? Because when they are spending over, some people go to Ghana and within less than 2 weeks they spend about 3 or 4 grand.
You know what you reminded me? No. Why did I see a tweet? Of someone said that how is everyone going to Ghana now? And it's like they're going to go and give citizenship like it's biscuits. As a citizenship, they're just giving it away. When I saw that, I said that made me laugh. But just obviously wheeling it back in and going back to
because this is a mental health issue, I
think that's a form of escapism.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but when you escape it, you still come back to the reality. And the reality now puts you in this shocker. Because I don't remember us dating ourselves anyway. And you understand? And we still, because it's like I wake up and the next thing I'm thinking of is when I have money, my bills, I want to move forward. But these kids, I said, when you look at Chinese kids, how come we as black people, the amount of money that they spend cannot be channeled
it can be channeled, but you know what? If back home is so corrupted to where you've got jealousy, you've got people that they just don't even do things in a straight line, lawless. You implement something, someone else has the power to come and take it off and bend the rule in the same way. Do you get what I mean? All that kind of stuff, it demotivates you. How would you, that kind of stuff you can also break down.
Which is true. Mentally. Because I know people that go and set up business, or when they know that you come from this country and you go there and you want to help them out. You want to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
You see? So the men are not truthful. They lie. The other day I was telling somebody that if you guys ever hear that I'm bringing some guy into this country, you lot should know that there's some black magic malarkey. I say people should pray for me.
We will definitely be doing some covering. We will be praying for
100% because it's like everybody is doing something more dubious. They understand me, and I know as much as. And the funny thing is, I like laughter.
Yeah,
I like jokes. I keep saying that I want an environment. If I feel they're going to give me stress, you're out. Now this is what I'm doing. If I fail, because I realized that I've got enough. I always tell somebody always says, oh, what's for you? Sometimes you're smiling. And sometimes when I go off. They understand. And I keep saying that one thing that I've realized about people is if you allow them to take the piss, they will continually do it. And then people do not take accountability for their actions. And those selfish people, I remember somebody said selfish people live longer. And it's true. Because they're doing...
I remember, tell me, this is a random thought. I remember back in the day, which you probably remember, they used to have posters of like child helpline. I remember.
Oh, like, they did that.
The orange and did you remember that?
So that child helpline posters.
Those child helpline everywhere, to the point to where some of the kids at school knew the numbers.
And then when they went to school, they gave the numbers to them. And they gave them the card as well of child helpline. So I remember there was one time that my son got one of those. They get us. No, what he did was he brought his school bag, No, he brought his school bag. And then when he brought his school bag, the next thing, the school bag that he brought, and I said, do you think you need it? He goes, well, it was given to me.
They don't want to say just in case. Just in case. Oh my days. But you know what? Obviously, you've got...
Okay, so how... Now, sorry, Zakie. So how do we improve the youth
action plan,
mental health, an action plan?
Okay.
Solutions.
So recently, okay, this was in Ghana though. So I was approached by someone to do a school tour, because so you know how you said mental health is broad. What she does for mental health is the suicide prevention.
Okay. But this country too, they've got kids that they do suicide.
Yes.
So the same template can be used, but you go ahead.
Yeah. So she approached me to do like a school tour.
Yes.
Okay. And that's something that I definitely think should be implemented here as well. Just so that young people know that this is the avenue that I can take. There is help out there. I think a lot of people don't realize that there's help out there, so they rely on their peers. And some peers, they lack common sense, and you know, everyone wants to be popular because no one wants to be the geek of the group.
Stigmatized. Nobody wants to stigmatize.
So it's about being a supportive mentor to the young people, and especially those in the ethnic minorities as well, because some of them are having issues communicating with their parents, as we said. So they need someone to fill in that gap for them. You see, yes, there's.
Do you think schools would be a good place?
Yes, certainly, and communities like churches as well. You know, you got.
Do you think churches are a good? The reason why I say that is, I do appreciate that we've got these things in churches, but churches are the places that they gossip so much. I tell you, if you go and then you do, because if you go and you do sort of like what would you call it, a program, a talk. Unless somebody lifts their hand up and say that, oh, I'm having challenges and stuff. The next thing, you know, they're saying that, oh, yeah, that woman, the husband beat her up, you know that
no, but there's a way that these things are approached.
Safeguarding.
Yes. Church communities are now introducing safeguarding into their welfare and stuff, and also in schools there's education welfare officers. There's even therapy in schools now. So I think for young people, if they're not aware of the avenue, they won't know that it's there for them to take it, if that makes sense. And social media too, they're always on their phones on social media. So if there's a way to have it in their face on their socials, the TikToks, the Instagrams, the Snapchats, then they will know that, okay, I'm not having to go through this alone. Because there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of things that they're going through that they think no one else will understand. But I think they think that because we're adults, it's like we've not been there before, but they don't know that maybe we went through it 10 times.
But the funny thing is, they don't know that we're still struggling through it because it's a daily thing.
No, it's a battle.
Yeah,
certainly.
It is a battle.
It is a battle.
And I think one thing that I noticed too about the young, especially when it comes to the suicide thing, is they believe that whatever happens to them today, they can't live through it tomorrow.
Yes.
So they think that it's final.
Yeah.
So instead of them to realize that, and that's what I was talking about, the communication, for them to realize that you can live through it. That today might look worse, but it gets
better
down the line. I think that is where sometimes I feel that the challenge is. Because when I found out a 15-year-old committed suicide because her boyfriend left her. Or I remember there was one time that a girl hanged herself because her boyfriend left her. Do you understand me? I feel that's what I feel that the communication has to be prominent.
So for that, I would say rehab. They would need to be in a center for a series of weeks, months, under watch, like serious watch. in terms of like, you know, just like how, for example, someone.
No, some of these kids, they don't talk to anybody about it.
No, I get that. But the thing is that like, it's not going to come in a day, is it? And it's not going to come in a week or whatever it is. You see, the struggle of mental health is that someone could be good today, relapse, go back tomorrow, and carry on again. And you know when they say, oh yeah, like the NHS, like when we try to do therapy, you got to wait in this. Them two are overwhelmed. Like, how many people are struggling?
And then the men to commit suicide a lot because they don't talk. Because I know that men are one of the genetic people that you might see them laughing, they're drinking, you know, even if they're being abused, even if they're going through something, you have to man up. And then that man up too, it's like the dad will pass you on to that guy. Oh, the man is not supposed to cry. A man is not supposed to do this. Do you understand me? And I think this is where my heart goes out, that with me, I keep saying that I talk to my kids, and I'm telling you, if you have to cry, cry. If you have to whatever you need to do, it doesn't make you less of a person. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Because you keep saying that being manly doesn't necessarily mean anything. Because I see even the grown-ups can't even figure it out themselves. Is it? No, but it's true, because that's what the other day I always keep saying, that we're struggling through life. You see, even when you look at even the, what's it called? The big stars. How can big stars kill themselves and they numb out their pain and do what? These are the people that they have money. So you're supposed to assume that the monies are supposed to solve all their problems. So if that doesn't solve it, they say somebody that's got schizophrenia, you got somebody that's got bipolar, you got somebody that is going through, and I keep saying that they sort of the most beautiful woman still gets left by a man. So at the end of the day, So it's kind of like when we're looking at all these stuff and everybody's going through their own stuff, you got women that they have children, that they end up having postnatal depression, whereby they don't look at it. They understand me. I remember somebody said that when they were younger, my mom, you know, when you have your kid, you go and stay with your mother for 3 months. Now it's like you have your kid, you have to go to work, depending on what your situation is. It's like, even because if you're staying at home and they're paying you 6 months maternity leave, after 6 months they're paying you half. So that 6 months, you're not even in your mind, you're not even well. You understand me? I know women that even when they are married, when the man goes to work, instead of him to help the woman, they understand me, the woman will go to work, come back, come and take care of the kids, do their kids' homework, and the man is still sitting there. And it's like the kids. That's why I keep saying that
everyone's going through their own mental battles.
Going through their own. So you know something, somebody so I want to get married, and then you see people too that they're married, that they're going through all the crap. They understand me. There are some of them, I know certain women that even in a marriage they're even more lonelier than single people. They understand me. And all this stuff is mental health. I know certain women that when their husband comes home, they don't even talk to them. They just walk in the house, they give them their food. That's it. The kids are watching it.
Do you know what I think then? Sorry to cut you.
Okay.
I think that, like, obviously I think a lot of places do this already, but I feel like the help should really be at the influential places, so workplaces, schools, at home. But I feel like this stuff should be made compulsory, not optional. Compulsory.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's in a workplace, it is compulsory that you attend this, whether you take the advice from it or not. That's your prerogative. That's your problem. If you want to console someone about it and whatever it is, that's up to you. But I think these things should be compulsory to attend it.
Because there is the EAP, like the I've just forgotten it just now. Is at the workplace assistance program. So it's like therapy, but
then it's optional. Because when it's like, and obviously you can't force anybody to take therapy. That's not even not the therapy part. But I think that just overall awareness to it, and then giving them these various tools or whatever it is, so you can say you can have therapy, or this is what you can do.
They give you options,
or you have options. So the options that you take, that is what is optional. But in terms of taking in this information, I think that should be compulsory, because these are the places in which you are at and that you interact with the people and all that kind of stuff every single day. If it's at work, if it's at school, and if it's at home, those are where you have direct contacts with these people and these things. So I definitely think that, like, if these things are made compulsory in these areas, that is where it could be targeted at most, because you spend majority of your time there.
Yes,
do you get what I mean?
It's true.
So it's like, even if you want to say at home, how do you do that? Well, at home a lot of people trust the church. At home a lot of people trust their communities, and sometimes, you know how, for example, like what we Caribbeans may call it partner. You have some of that where they
Ghana,
get
they call it
together. Susu. Okay, so maybe at a susu, when they get together every single time, every now and then they have those interventions. That could be something that they can implement when they have that every now and then. That's community based. Do you get what I mean? So stuff like that, I just think it has to be compulsory.
I would have to cut you because the time is now
coming. Oh yeah.
You see, and one thing I want to say is, I always say this, that I thank Omega for giving us this platform. Omega TV, UK, they're fabulous. I want to thank producer. I want to thank producer Joe, Sister Danswa. And I want to thank my guest Tiana for coming out. Yes. One thing that I want you guys to understand is mental health is serious. It's not a joke. Do not let anybody stigmatize you. Do not let anybody tell you that whatever you do, you can't. Your mental well-being is what affects your whole well-being. Now I'm going to give you, I want you to round up and say something, how they can get in contact with you and all those stuff. And then I'll let my dear co-host go. So Tiana, go.
Yep. Thank you, Prolific B. Thank you to Omega as well for giving us this platform this evening. I'm grateful for the opportunity. The brain is powerful. Your mind is powerful. So control what you think through how you speak. What are you saying about yourself? What negativity are you pouring out there about yourself? It makes a big difference. I was telling someone today that last week I was having such a bad week, but I forced myself to make that decision that I'll make myself happy. So I was playing music, I was just doing my own thing, cooking, dancing, but I was sad.
Positive energy.
Do you get it? And then today, I was having a bad day, and I actually sat in that bad day, being upset, and I saw how it played out. So the mind is such a powerful thing. Don't play with your brain. Whatever you feed into it, it actually manifests into reality. So I would say that you're in control. Take back your power. You know, there's power in your words, so take it back. Also, if you want to contact me, I'm on Instagram, talk2 Tiana. I'm on Facebook, talk to Tiana as well, and you can email me contact@talktotiana.com.
So if they're doing any programs, please try and invite us so that we can come and support.
Sure, thank you.
Zakie, what do you think about mental health, and what is your last words for the mental health?
I think mental health is an ongoing battle. It's an ongoing battle, but I think it's a battle with yourself. So I feel like the same way in which you started with normality is the same way you can finish with that, given that that's a choice. And one thing us youngers like to say is believe in your source. Believing in your source means believe in yourself, because you've got this. You've got this. I think as long as you continuously, fight it. As I introduced in the beginning, this is something that's ongoing for us. As I said, as I'm a fundraiser. So there is a charity that I'm involved in, which is HVOCA, that's Hope for Vulnerable Children, which is based here and it's based in Cameroon. So if you want to find out a bit more information on some of the tools that we spoke about as well, please also find us out on social media too, which is on Facebook, Instagram, and that's our website as well, HOVUCA. And that's it from me.
Okay, so thank you so much, Tiana. Thank you, Zakie. Our show, we're going to make sure that it's consistent. You've said it all, so I don't have anything to say. I just want to thank our viewers for giving us their time. And please, I want you to share this video, this program, because one thing I realized is if it was somebody showing up their backside, I'll get more views. This is really, 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 really important. Please make use of whatever information we've given you. Please listen. And we thank you guys for watching, and have a lovely evening, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Good night and thank you.